BCSN. Today we have an interview with our superintendent, Mr. Mike LaFavers, and I believe he has a few words he wants to say before he gets started. But just letting you guys know, Daniel McQuarrie will be joining us here in a few minutes. He is just caught up at the doctor at the moment, so we're going to let Mr. LaFavers get started.
Thank you, Jack. And so, this has certainly been an unprecedented summer. I know students, I know you're trying to make the best of it, but it's been tough. So a little update on where we are. Of course, we presented our plan on Friday to parents that we will provide this school year a virtual school option and a traditional physical school option. We've had students commit and parents commit to what their child will be doing and what you all will be doing as students for next school year. We've had about half of our students already make a commitment. We have about 2,750 students total, and nearly 1,400 have made a commitment. And to date, 20% of all students are selecting the virtual school, which was surprising to me, and 80% are selecting the traditional physical school building. The last date to commit is July 24th. So if you're listening to this call, talk to your parent, have them fill out that commitment with you, or you do it yourself. You can find it. Stephanie Wade will come on in a minute and tell you where all you can locate those commitment forms. And we will take the information we get from you on July 24th and finish our planning and release final plans on August 4th. So some of the questions Jack will ask me today, I won't have the answers to because I don't know exactly how many students are riding the bus or how many students are going to be at the physical traditional school yet, but it's looking like we're going to have about 80% of the students at the physical traditional school. Most of the communication from this point forward after today, this will be my 6th town hall, 2 with Jack and Daniel, and 2 with for the parents and 2 with staff. But from this point forward, most of the communication will happen at the school level. So you'll be, if you're a high school student, you'll be looking for something from Mark Wade. If you're a middle school student, Brian Wheeler. Elementary school, Jenna Blair's at Perryville, and Pam Shunk's at Junction, and Bernice Bates is at Woodlawn. So that's how you'll get your information moving forward. I will tell you that things are still changing rapidly. The governor put a new rule out about masks last Friday, and I'm trying to find out now, does that change our mask policy? Because our mask policy is that you have to wear them anytime you can't achieve social distancing or anytime that students are moving about the building. Well, my fear is that the new governor's mask rule would make us have to wear them all the time. So I'm going to find that out for sure. I did contact a KDE official yesterday about that issue, and they thought that perhaps we could continue with our original plan, which again was that when we could achieve 6 feet social distancing, we can take masks off. So a lot of it's still up in the air and a lot to be figured out. One thing about the virtual school is it will be 8 to 3, just like the physical school. So if you're interested in that, we want the engagement and the interaction between the teacher and between student to student. We want it to be very, very similar to the physical traditional school environment. So it's not just going to be a software program, you can do it at night. It's not going to be like NTI. This is going to be a true virtual academy, but it's going to happen during the school day, and you'll have a teacher working with you all day long. Or you'll have 6 classes with 6 teachers working with you all day long. So those are some of the things that have happened to date. And with that, Jack, I'll turn it back over to you and let you just fire away.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. LaFavers. Those answered a couple of my questions. So the first question I've got here is, what will cafeteria protocol and lunch look like? Will students be able to go to the cafeteria, or if not, what is that going to look like?
Yeah, so again, that's one of the details still yet to be worked out and will be revealed on August 4th. But it looks like students, based on the discussions I've had, I spent all day yesterday with all the principals, and we talked about a lot of these details, and we made a lot of progress on them. I think, yes, we will be going to the cafeteria. We may even have an alternate cafeteria site, so there may be almost like 2 cafeterias in every building. We'll try to have more space, probably longer lunch waves, space kids out that way. But yeah, I think students will be going to the cafeteria.
Okay. And staying on that cafeteria track, what about breakfast? Will that still be available to students who come in the mornings? Or
that's going to be grab and go. So what'll happen is when you make your way into the building, you'll get your temperature checked, and then you'll go straight to your homeroom. And there'll be a cart there, some way for you to do grab and go. I'm not sure, it may be different for each school, but Katie Ellis and her folks are working on that. But you'll have a grab and go breakfast option first thing in the morning. Our buildings will be open 30 minutes before the school day begins. So at the high school, Jack, that means that the door will open at 7:40.
Okay.
And students can make their way in. Again, we won't be congregating in the lobby, won't be congregating in a cafeteria or the gym. You'll go straight to your classroom.
So I got that you said so when you come in the building, you go straight to your homeroom. There's not going to be like, you're going to try to cut out all of that congregation in the lobby and the cafeteria and the gym?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So will middle school and high school classes still change classes as normal, or will we see a different class change cycle and less of a break in between, or what does that look like?
We're definitely being advised not to have breaks. That 10-minute break, I think, will go away.
All right.
Now, as far as will we change classes as normal, there was a lot of discussion about that yesterday with Mr. Wade, Mr. Wheeler, and some of the central office folks. We haven't made final decisions on that. Obviously, the fewer transitions you create, the safer everyone is. So I think the conversations were around how do we create maybe fewer transitions, but nothing has been finalized, but will be by February 4th.
Okay. So similar to that, what about like the elementary school and the middle school where they have recess and their outdoor break? Will that be taken away, or does that still stay?
Yeah, I think recess definitely will stay. I think there's actually a law about that, a regulation. Now, as far as using outside, I think high school students too, I would encourage teachers, let's get the students outside, and that's the best place you can social distance out there when the weather's good. And so, yeah, I would encourage more of that. And we'll try to create, security protocols to make sure you're also, we've got security personnel out there with you, right? When kids are outside. So yeah, I think more of that would be wise.
So would that be a potential replacement for the 10-minute breaks, 10-minute outside period or something?
What I think happens is I think teachers will have, if you take the 10 minutes we usually do break and spread that into the classroom time, obviously okay. Classrooms will be a little bit longer. I would encourage teachers to have brain breaks or some kind of little physical activity bursts during the class period to break it up, make things fun, allow students a little bit of unstructured time for a few minutes. We've got to find ways to make this an enjoyable experience for everyone.
All right. So, what will like traffic flow and bus loading look like with the new start and end times? Because if everybody's, I guess the buses go from school to school, so I guess you've got it in order to where the bus can go from one school at one time and the next and the next. But what will that look like with the buses and with pickup and traffic flow? Will the students be able to congregate outside or so on?
Oh yeah, I follow what you're saying. I think Junction City and Perryville look the same. The only difference is that their teacher will be in the classroom 30 minutes prior to the start of the day. I think the high school, middle school, and Woodlawn are a little bit different because now the middle school is the first one to start every day, the new building. They begin at 8, and then Woodlawn begins at 8:05. The high school begins at 8:10. And then also the middle school's first one to end the day, 3 o'clock. Woodlawn ends at 3:05. High school ends at 3:10. As far as congregating outside, we'll have school personnel out there. You need to maintain social distance or you need to have a mask on. And I know it's difficult. Your friends, you haven't seen them in a long time, and you want to share stories with them and talk to them about what's going on. And I get that, and I think there's ways to do that and be safe. But we do need our students to observe the protocols.
Okay, thank you, Ms. LaFavers. That was a poorly worded question on my part, and you did very well with it.
Yeah, you did good, Jerry.
So what would the process look like if so let's say a student is in the physical / virtual school and they want to switch to the other side, how can they do that, and how often can they do that? Like, is there a time restriction, or is there a long protocol they've got to go through?
You know, the student has the control over the situation 2 times during the year. They have control right now until July 24th. You can pick either one, and it's completely your decision until July 24th. After July 24th, if you wanted to change in the middle of the semester, you have to get permission from your principal and a district representative, and that's Chris Sloan. So those two would have to sign off on you making that change in the middle of the year.
Okay.
The other time that you're in control as a student is December the 11th, and that's for the second semester, because your commitment is a semester commitment. So when you commit by July 24th, you're committing to the first semester. And when you commit by December 11th, you're committing for the second semester. And you have total control over what you do at those 2 commitment windows. Outside the windows, it's a request.
Okay. I believe I understand that. So what would happen other than a shelter-in-place order from Governor Beshear? What would happen for our school to have to close for a considerable period of time due to a coronavirus threat? Would it have to be what number of cases, or is there a number, or is it a death case, or what do you all look at for school closings?
Well, so obviously if the governor issued it, we would have to do it. But then also the health department, if they told us to do, the health department, if we had one case, let's say we have a 9th grader who has it and they contact trace and they say we need to have these students quarantined for 14 days, then we would follow the guidelines from the health department if that was what they tell us to do. A lot of what dictates whether you close school is what happens to your attendance percentage. You know, so if to have an ideal learning environment, you have about 95% of the students in attendance on a given day. If all of a sudden you have 75% or 80% in a building, then the learning environment has been greatly affected. So, and of course, I'm not talking about we've already got 20% in the virtual school. I'm setting those students over here to the side, right? I'm talking about, at the high school, you may have 650 or 680 who say, I'm going to the high school next year. It's kind of how it's looking. Well, if all of a sudden 680 turned into 500 who show up, then you can imagine that it's the learning environment is so different for everyone. So that's how that decision ends up being made by the district. So you got 3 entities there. The governor, he's looking at the entire state of Kentucky, making his calls. You got the health department looking at our situation, making determinations, and then you got us primarily looking at the attendance percentage.
Yeah. All right. I understand that. So, kind of shifting to a different topic. Is there a current timeline on scheduling and teacher assignments? I know this is, personally, I've had some not necessarily problems, but questions about this. What is the timeline looking like for scheduling and teacher assignments?
Well, so we'll know which students are in the virtual school, which are in the traditional physical school on July 24th. We've got 2 big planning dates set up on the 27th and the 31st. And then we've got final plans that the principal has to present on August 4th. And then I would think after August 4th, the principal would present those plans to you all in some way. I don't know how they'll do that. Each principal will do that their own way. And then after that, you'll start seeing how the schedule will work, when the schedule pickup will happen, and some of these details about cafeteria and things like that should be ironed out. And so I think you'll hear about that that week of August 4th. Okay.
All right. So, so going to school events like dances and homecoming, senior night, stuff like that. What school events will and won't be allowed, and what is the protocol to allow those events to happen?
Well, so probably from my office, there won't be any guidelines I'll give on that. I'll say just adhere to the governor's expectations, the document he has that has the expectations on it, and those could change over time, right? Right now, I think it'd be very difficult to have those events you're describing. You can't gather in groups larger than 50. You have to maintain social distancing. You have to wear masks. But hey, we've got to all be optimistic. This thing could change as the school year progresses. New therapeutics, vaccines, and maybe by prom, it looks totally different. And so I think we've got to be optimistic that it will.
Okay. Well, that's good. That sounds good. I'm glad that we're optimistic. Hopefully we do get to have these events. So, will students in the virtual school be allowed to participate in extracurricular activities like, I don't know, sports, bands, clubs, stuff like that? And is there certain activities that will and then some that won't be allowed for virtual students, or what does that look like for those virtual students?
Yeah, so they will be allowed. The virtual school students are allowed to participate in extracurriculars. And I think that goes for just about all of them, really. If it's an after-school activity, academic team, Y club, if it's sport, football, girls basketball, whatever, they can participate. And that really came down from the Kentucky High School Athletic Association. They made a ruling on that, and so really that should be the case everywhere.
All right. So if these virtual students are able to participate in the extracurricular activities, there's no distinction on what they can and can't be in. It's just everything is allowed.
Everything's allowed. The only thing that might be a little bit of an exception is we may set up the elementary school. It's going to get a little technical, Jack, but we may set our elementary school up as an A5. We haven't decided that yet. Schools are classified as A1s, and if you set it up as an A5, then the students are not allowed to participate. And the reason we may do that is because it might be better for us to have one first grade teacher for the virtual school across the entire district, rather than each school trying to handle 10 or 12 first graders. It might be better to do that as an entire district. And so we may set up almost like a fourth elementary school, essentially. And if you do that, then those students can only participate in any extracurriculars that A5 school has. They cannot participate in their home schools. So, but the middle school and high school, I'm pretty sure we're going to set that up as an A1, which is an extension of the current school. And so then the middle school and high school would have full participation rights.
Okay. Interesting. So what's the plan for enforcing the mask wearing at school? Is there going to be punishments, or is it just going to be, hey, put your mask back on, or what are the plans there?
I mean, I think, again, you want to be positive. I think you start by teaching students the importance of it. If you still have trouble with a few students, you talk to them about it. If you continue to have trouble, you talk to them and their parent about it. I don't think you jump right into Friday schools and suspensions and stuff. I mean, I just don't think that's where you go. I think you try other ways. It's essentially a dress code rule for the year. You would handle it like you handle dress code.
Okay. I think that's a great idea, because those dress code, people hate it when they get dress code. I know a lot of girls do, at least. Can't stand it. So if that's going to happen, I think that'll be a good idea to get people to keep their masks on. So going back to the masks, what types of masks will be permitted? Will all masks, like, for example, I wear like a fishing buff, and it kind of goes around your neck, and then you pull it up, and it's not really like this, but it does the job. It covers my mouth, doesn't allow my breath to go through. Would that be okay? And would face shields, or the other one, would that be okay?
We haven't gotten to the end of that. We had a long conversation about that yesterday, and I think like bandanas are a no, because they don't stop the germs. They just there's been a lot of modeling of that. A bandana, even you cough, it still goes like 4 feet, so not effective at all. The best is of course those 3M masks that you can't get your hands on, but 2-ply cotton masks are probably second best. So I think there'll be some guidance on that that'll come out August 4th. So maybe stay tuned on that one, Jack.
All right. And then there was a more specific question, like students with asthma that may be unable to wear masks. Will they have some different protocol or some different rules for them. I don't have asthma, so I personally can't relate. I didn't know that they weren't even able to wear masks, but this is a question that was posed to me, and I felt like I should share that.
Well, so, you know, there is a waiver that you can seek. I think you got to have a medical waiver to not wear the mask. I would say, though, if you have asthma, it's pretty important to wear it. I would highly encourage you to wear that mask. When you're in an environment where the virus could be airborne or it could be exchanged. So if you can find one that you can breathe through, that it's breathable enough for you to make your way through the day with, I think you should wear it. I really would highly encourage it for a student with asthma.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. I wasn't aware that people with asthma couldn't wear masks or there was a problem, so I'm really not versed on that question. I was just hoping maybe you knew a little more than I did.
Well, Jack, I've heard that question before. This is not the first time, and I do think probably if you have asthma, mask wearing is a little bit tougher. So
Okay.
find one more, that has the breathability, but it's not allowing things in or out. Yeah, I would try to figure that out before you start school and wear one.
Okay. The next question is on nurses. So will there be nurses in school every day, all day, or is it going to be kind of similar to how it was? Or, well, I don't know. I've never been to the nurse, but I don't think they were there all day in the past.
We have, I talked to the health coordinator, Nicole Brown, who's also the nurse at the high school this morning, and this very topic we talked about. There's 4 nurses currently in the district. She was talking about how to distribute them to the 5 schools, and there's no definitive plan on that yet. But what she'll do is look at the need. So she'll look at how many students have need that we already are aware of, and she'll distribute them accordingly. We're debating whether we can add a 5th. There's so many expenses that go along with trying to do this year, and I know nurses are very important. We could possibly add a 5th one before the year starts. We're just trying to weigh that in amongst all the other increased costs that we're having to deal with.
I just want to throw this in right now. You guys are doing a fantastic job with all of this. Really fantastic teamwork from all of you guys. And I'm lucky to be a part of a district that is so well organized and well run. So thank you so much.
A lot of people working hard behind the scenes, no doubt about it. Thank you, though.
So will outside visitors still be allowed to enter the schools? And if they are allowed, what will they have to do to be able to enter?
Talked about that yesterday also, and there's nothing, again, August 4th will be the final on that, but it looks like, we definitely want parents to have access to their students, right? So they can make their way into the office. I need to see my child, and then the child makes their way to the office. We definitely want that to happen and make that as easy a process as possible. I think we'll cut down on a lot of the, parents making their way back into the building for one reason or another, going to the cafeteria. For a year, I don't know that we'll do as much of that based on what I'm listening to the principals. So it could possibly be that we require parents to call ahead. That I don't think has been decided yet, but that was discussed at length yesterday. And again, August 4th, we'll have final plans on all that.
Okay. All right. So, going to some sporting events, will fans be allowed into attendance for sporting events, or is there any guidance on that at the moment?
Well, right now the guidance is 50 people, and that includes the athletes, so you wouldn't have fans in that scenario. But Julian Tackett was on a meeting I was on last week, and he said his hope was to get that to 50%. And so I think that's possible. I would think our case count in Kentucky needs to come down a little bit for that to be what happens. We've been hitting the 400 number a lot lately. So we get back in the hundreds, maybe that would be something we could do. So I think that's still a little bit up in the air. Now I would encourage BCSN, which I know Jax is something you're passionate about. Michelle Feistretter's on this call. I would encourage you all, and we'll buy the equipment for you. Let's get 3 groups going. Let's get 2 high school groups and a middle school group.
We're trying.
And let's get that going.
if anybody out here listening to this is interested in BCSN, please contact Michelle Fystretcher at the high school, michelle.fystretcher@stu.boyle.ky schools. It's a great contact, and she'll get you involved if you want to be involved. So just let her know. We're actively looking for more members and looking to expand this so that we can get all the parents involved in their kids' sports. Thank you for that little self-promotion.
Well, we do need those 3 teams. I mean, I think for us to be able to broadcast as much as we need to, I would love to have 3 teams going.
So if we do end up getting a 50% capacity or whatever, however much capacity, will there be social distancing laws enforced and masks requirements as usual, even if it is at an outdoor sporting event?
I don't know about masks, but I think, yes, we'll have families sit only with their own family. We'll essentially take the football bleachers, we'll zone them, so they'll be like color coded, and you can sit only in the color coded seats. So there may be seats that have green backs on them or green, they're like labeled with green in some way, and that you can sit there. And if they don't have that, you can't. And then we'll figure out some way to do that. But I don't know about masks because you're already creating social distancing. It'll depend on what the governor's mask rules are. Right now, you probably would have to wear masks, but that expires in 30 days. So I don't know about that how that'll turn out.
All right. So, Mr. LaFavers, what will this is completely non-coronavirus related, but I was just wondering, what will the new middle school, what will its like drop-off procedures and pickup procedures look like just at the new middle school? Because I've looked at it, and do you go around that back section or do you go through the front?
So it probably depends on what a parent does, right? So let's talk about parents first. So they drop off right in the front of the school. There's a loop in front of the school.
All right.
You can access it off of Cunningham Way. Cunningham Way is the road that goes into the park. You can actually access it there, or you can come in. If you drop a Woodlawn student off first, you would go down by the bus garage, and the roundabout there. There's a gravel drive that's now turning into a road. You would take that road up, and then you can also get to the parent loop if you go that way. So that's how the parents would do it. I think since the middle school starts first, if you've got a middle school and a Woodlawn child, for example, as a parent, you would do you would go Cunningham Way, do the parent loop at the middle school, and then go down what used to be that gravel drive by the track and field and towards the bus garage, that new road that we're building, and you would go that. You just stay on campus and go towards Woodlawn, and then after you drop off at Woodlawn, then you would head back out to 127.
Okay.
That's how I think the parents do it. Now the buses will begin at the middle school. They'll also, I would think, come in on Cunningham Way. Probably, I don't know for sure that's how they'll do it, but they drop off over on the far left side by the gymnasium. And they've got, actually, if you see it, if you ever go over there and look, there's a blacktop road that a big part of it is concrete. And the concrete part of the road is for the buses to line up because over time, buses so heavy, they just, they ruin a road where you have them stacked up. So the engineers and the architects are smart to make that real thick concrete there that'll last 50 years. And so that's exactly where the buses will go. And then after they pick the kids up or drop the kids off, whichever one, they make their way behind the middle school. There's a road that goes behind it. And then they hit that new access road that runs down that gravel drive and head over to Woodlawn next.
So what's happening with the old middle school? What is that becoming?
It's becoming Woodlawn. And, we did all the HVAC work there, all the lighting work, electrical, new windows, new doors. Now what we're doing is new flooring, new painting. We're converting bathrooms into elementary bathrooms, cafeteria into an elementary cafeteria. We're making preschool centers there. That school's, it's like brand new. I mean, because we've done so much work already on it in the last couple of years, and then to come in and finish it off, it's like, I think Stephanie Way was with me the other while back, and she said, Mike, we're getting 2 brand new schools here, which is true. Now the question, Jack, is what happens to the old Woodlawn, and I don't know that yet. I think that'll be for a board to decide in the future. But right now our focus is on the old middle school turns into Woodlawn, the new middle school getting it ready to go this year, and then that access road's been a big project as well.
And so all of these projects will be done by the beginning of the school year, or will it
Woodlawn's
be?
Christmas. Woodlawn is Christmas. They only started in May, and so it takes about 6 or 7 months to do the work they're doing. But they're on pace, perfect pace. So it's going to be May in Christmas. I'm confident that we'll move those Woodlawn kids over. And the great thing is, you can't tell it by looking, but the old middle school is 20% larger than Woodlawn. It's 68,000 square feet. Woodlawn's like 55,000 square feet. So yeah, it's a lot bigger. It's got like 6 more classrooms than Woodlawn has. It's a bigger school than Woodlawn really can even. They can't even really fill the school up at this time. So it's good. Right now they're busting at the seams, so they go from not having enough space to having really surplus space. So it's good.
Good. Fantastic. Well, Mr. LaFavers, that's all I've got unless you want to add anything else.
No, I would just say to students, of course, we're starting on August 26th. I think they know that. You got a couple extra weeks of summer. I would say enjoy the summer. Be safe out there. I want you to be safe because I want us, when we come in on August 26th, I want us to have healthy students, healthy staff, and we can make a really good run at getting off the ground and get going. I want everybody to come in healthy and ready to go. And I want people to stay optimistic. This is an unusual time. You can really get down about it, but it's not going to last forever. I mean, these kind of situations have happened in the past to our society and others, and they do pass. Eventually they will pass. We've got more brilliant scientists now than we've ever had in our history, and they're all plugged into this. And so they're going to solve this problem. You can't see it now, but it's going to happen. And so I would say stay optimistic, enjoy the rest of your summer, but stay safe and healthy so that when you come in, we can take off and run with it.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. LaFavers, for coming and joining me today. Unfortunately, my friend Daniel, who's always on here, he got caught up at the doctor today, so he could not make it. He recently was actually in a car crash, so he's still recovering a little bit from that. So everybody, make sure we're thinking about Daniel today. He's in the doctor, and just thank you so much, Mr. LaFavers, for all of the work you've done. I know this has been probably a very hectic summer for you. You have done a fantastic job. Everybody that has worked with you, I don't have like a big list of names here, but I'm sure that Miss Wade and all these different people that have worked with you have done a fantastic job. And every student at Boyle County in any school, all 5 of them are lucky to have such a wonderful staff that cares about the kids as much as you guys do. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining me today again, and hope to get and talk to you guys again soon.
Thank you, Jack.